What does a Regis divorce, a Regis bankruptcy, and a Regis personal injury claim have in common? Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care. Convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. We work 100% for the 99%. Over 20 years, we've helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. Y sí, hablamos español.
On EMTV 24 News, I'm Kim Seabrook. You're watching the Good Looking News. And of course, I have to always keep you informed on what's going on with New York City. So, New York City is actually paying people $100 to get vaccinated. Now, this is not something I'm promoting. I am just, like I said, expressing what's going on in New York City. New York City will pay $100 for people to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. Starting Friday, residents who get their first vaccine dose at a city-run vaccination site will get a $100 incentive, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio announced this Wednesday. De Blasio said that $100 will make a big impact, particularly in a world in which more and more things are going to be determined by whether you're vaccinated or not. We wanted to supercharge it by saying we'll give you extra, direct personal incentive to get this done. Now, he continued, residents and city employees will receive $100 prepaid debit cards, say Rachel Loeb. She's the president of the New York City Economic Development Corporation. Residents can immediately redeem the card digitally or receive a physical debit card. The incentive is the latest that the mayor has announced to get the city vaccinated. De Blasio said Wednesday that 9,902,097 doses have been administered. 59% of the city's population has received one dose of a coronavirus vaccine, according to the data from the city, while 54% have been fully inoculated. On Monday, de Blasio said that all city employees will need to be fully vaccinated or undergo frequent coronavirus testing by September 13th. So again, I said this recently when it was first announced. Now, if you ever had a COVID test, you have to take it every single week. That is devastating. That is like so inhumane, just take it at one time. So this is what forces people to actually get the vaccine, because nobody's going to want to do that once a week. But the mayor said that the vaccine mandates are a crucial part of the solution. Mandates work well with incentives. I think there are other things that we can have incentives for, right? Like healthcare or mental health. How about we get some incentives for some mental health? Next, New York to require state employees to get vaccine or get tested, which is what we were just discussing. New York will require state employees to get vaccinated against the coronavirus by Labor Day or undergo weekly tests for COVID-19. Andrew Cuomo said Wednesday, it's smart, it's fair, and it's in everyone's interest. He said that in a Zoom call with the non-for-profit Association for a Better New York, and mandating either that the shots or frequent testing for governor's workers. Cuomo is following on the heels of California and New York City, which announced similar policies for employees earlier this week. The governor called on local governments across New York to follow suit. New York, like other states, has seen a rising number of coronavirus cases linked to the Delta variant. New infections have climbed more than 400% since the end of June, and hospitalizations have jumped 68% over the past 2 weeks. What we're seeing is a pandemic amongst those unvaccinated people, but it affects everyone, Cuomo said. But from what I'm hearing is that the people who are vaccinated are actually becoming positive and affecting the ones who are not. But next, the COVID-19 vaccines will be mandatory for patient-facing workers at state-owned hospitals and veteran homes. Those employees would not be able to avoid inoculations by undergoing weekly virus testing. The state runs large hospitals in Syracuse and New York City and Long Island. I wish there was a place where none of this exists, that I can just get to that place and that location. But next, we have some other good information in New York City. New York City's Women's Fund for Media, Music, and Theater opens third round of grant applications. The Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, which is the MOME, and New York Foundation of the Arts, NYFA, announced that on July 26 that applications are open for the third round of grants as part of the New York City Women's Fund for Media, Music, and Theater. Qualified applicants can apply for finishing grants through November 1st, 2021. And the website for that is www.nyfa.org/NYC Women's Fund. Again, that website is www.nyfa.org/NYC Women's Fund. The $5.5 million grant program was launched in 2018, has awarded $3.5 million to 157 film, theater, and music projects to this date, with NYFA acting as the grant administrator. The NYC Women's Fund is a signature initiative launched to address the underrepresentation of all who identify as women in the entertainment industries. The fund has opened doors of opportunity for many female and female-identified creatives, employed more than 300 artists to date, and served as a model for how local government can promote creative projects by, for, or about women. Recent successes for program participants demonstrate the appetite for entertainment projects with a strong female voice. Film projects from the 2020 Women's Fund Grant recipients were collectively screened at 30 national and international film festivals, including the Slam Dance, Ann Arbor, SF Indie Fest, and Conquest. A series of online informational sessions will be available to all those interested in applying. Again, that website is www.nyfa.org/NYC Women's Fund. So go apply, get that grant, get that money. It's out there. Let's put some women on the front line in the arts and entertainment industry. Next, what do we have? Something good, or some good food, organic grocery pop-up. The Bloom Healthy launches their first organic grocery pop-up in New Rochelle. Bloom Healthy is an organic grocery pop-up. It is on a mission to make access to organic fruits, vegetables, and foods more affordable and available to everyone. The Westchester-based social enterprise is offering organic boxes of groceries for pickup for yourself or someone else by selecting Pay It Forward with Kindness to buy a box for someone in need at checkout. I'm excited to help the next generation bloom with organic fruits and vegetables, said Marian Henser, who is the founder and CEO of Bloom Healthy. I am looking forward to working with everyone in the New Rochelle community and all the opportunities to help. Bloom Healthy launched on July 14th, operating from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The pop-up runs every Wednesday and Friday for the duration of the summer. The storefront is located at 595 Main Street in downtown New Rochelle. Again, that's 595 Main Street in downtown New Rochelle. Pickups are every Wednesday and Friday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. On her first day, there were already 40 online orders, with half of them to Pay It Forward boxes. Henson chose New Rochelle to start her business because she is a graduate of the College of New Rochelle and connected with the neighborhoods in the city. The grocery pop-up will feature boxes of organic fruits, vegetables, herbs, and mushrooms. The Little Bloom box is $35. You can choose to pick up for yourself, or again, let's pay it forward. Pay it forward with kindness. Henson's vision for filling neighbors in need with food starting to take shape in November of 2020 when she joined the county's Launch 1000 Entrepreneur Program, which is designed through federal COVID relief funds to take ideas and turn them into businesses. What a great idea. And now that Bloom Healthy is up and running, its goal is food security and healthy fresh food for all. Healthy food equals a healthy lifestyle. Since food is medicine, you heard it here, right? You heard it. Since food is medicine, Henson believes that everyone should have access to organic fruits and vegetables at an affordable cost at all times. And I just don't understand why there's a difference between organic and not organic, but this is the world we live in. That means if you experience a crisis or you're still battling the various layers of the pandemic, you now will never have to worry about getting healthy options for yourself or your family. Again, for more information about Bloom Healthy and to purchase or request a Bloom box, please visit bloomhealthy.org. Again, that's bloomhealthy.org. Pay it forward. If you don't want to get it for you, send it to someone else who's in need. And next we have a task force was convened by Williams. Riley discusses student trauma and mental health. In New York City, schools have long failed to provide support or address trauma experienced by Latin and Black students, low-income and unhoused students, multilingual learners, and immigrant students, and other students of color. Recognizing this on July 22nd, the Healing Center School Task Force is a group who convened by Public Advocate Jamani Williams and the Healing Center Schools Working Group. And it was led by the City Councilman, Kevin Riley, students, parents, educators, advocates, and mental health providers. They announced the new recommendations to ensure the New York City Department of Education takes meaningful steps to address students' trauma related to COVID-19 and the long-standing racial inequities. While the DOE has made initial efforts to advance healing centers change in the upcoming school years, many believe the changes do not go far enough to address underlying structures, policies, and inequities in school that continue to criminalize and traumatize students, inhibiting academic progress and, in many cases, re-traumatizing students. You heard it, right? So as we approach in-person learning this fall, oh my God, I pray for these students that are going back to school after being home for a whole year and some change. The focus for the upcoming school year is to welcome our students back into an environment that is centered in healing the traumatic experience that they went through due to COVID-19, Riley said. The challenges we all witnessed, including those present prior to the pandemic, will be the tools to help us get through the future adversities. So the task force recommendations, they're based on community listening sessions that are going to be held across the city. They urge the DOE to, and here are some things that they want to do. Address trauma when school reopens. What we need to do is provide healing centers, transition plans, and support, invest in restorative justice programming to behavior. Provide mental health supports and staff. Invest in culturally responsive education and ELL. Invest in staff and professional development. Reduce class sizes. That's a huge one. Reduce the class sizes. I hope that this is possible. Invest in technology, devices for the families. Expand access to arts, athletics, and extracurriculars, because that right there will just keep their mind into something positive and keep them doing something else besides just academics. You need to do something that's fun and creative to get their minds going. Ensure accountability and implementation. I hope that everything works out for our kids in this new upcoming school year. Let's send our love out to them. Next, we have violent arrest in Colorado. It reignites anger over policing. And a video shows a police officer pistol whipping and choking a black man during an arrest in Denver suburb has reignited anger over policing in the community, with activists decrying what they say is just the latest example of the mistreatment of people of color. Aurora officer John Horbert was arrested on suspicion of attempted first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and felony menacing charges after officers responded Friday to a trespassing report where they found Kyle Vinson, who is biracial, identifies as black. Horbert's lawyer, Reed Ickes, has vowed to zealously defend him. Another officer is accused of not intervening to try to stop him. The body camera footage shows Horbert holds his pistol to Vinson's head, strikes him with it, chokes him, and threatens to shoot him. The footage angered activists on Wednesday. They want to bring attention to a police department plagued by allegations of misconduct in the recent years, including the 2019 death of Elijah McClain. McClain was walking down the street in the city of East Denver in August of 2019 when he was stopped by a local police officer after a 911 call reported a suspicious man. The 23-year-old black man was wrestled to the ground, put into a neck hole, and injected with 500 milligrams of ketamine by paramedics. McClain died less than a week later. No officers were charged in that case, But Democratic Governor Jared Polis asked Attorney General Phil Weiser to reinvestigate whether anyone should be prosecuted, especially after the case drew renewed attention following the killing of George Floyd. The investigation is still pending, and last year the police department also came under fire for an incident where 4 black girls were handcuffed and ordered face down in a parking lot after a stolen car mix-up. This isn't about just Elijah or just about Kyle. This is about the community as a whole, said Lindsay Minter, who is a high school track coach and member of the city's police task force. When I talk to the kids that I coach, they're always like, this is sad. If you come into Aurora, you'll leave on probation, period. They don't feel safe. Police Chief Vanessa Wilson called Vincent's case an anomaly on Tuesday and asked the public not to paint the department with a broad brush. She put the officers on leave and denounced Vincent's treatment as a very despicable act. But what we're going to do is go into a quick break. We'll be right back on Millennium TV 24. You're watching the Good Looking News with Kim Seabrook.
Divorce, a Regis bankruptcy. What does a Regis divorce, a Regis bankruptcy, and a Regis personal injury claim have in common? Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care. Convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. We work 100% for the 99%. Over 20 years, we've helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. Y sí, hablamos español.
Millennium TV, bridging. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
I'm going to go back into the story that I just finished off with, and thank you for staying tuned in on a Good Look at News on Millennium TV 24. I want to finish off with what Vincent's lawyer Rathod praised her for trying to change the department, but blamed Mayor Mike Kaufman for not denouncing what actually happened or apologizing to Vincent. He called on Kaufman to resign. Rathod said that the criminal justice system treated Vincent, who faced an arrest warrant for just a probation violation, more harshly than the officer accused of beating him. His bond was not set until Wednesday, requiring him to remain in jail as he waited, while Harbert was able to turn himself into authorities and be released quickly, he said. That's an issue that we have in our system. So yes, I hope that things get addressed and they will be responsible for what they've done. But next we have a family who seeks a second chance at charging officer in a man's death. A judge will decide this week whether there's enough evidence to charge who is a Wisconsin police officer who killed a man sitting in a parked car after the man's family invoked a rarely used legal process in a bid to get around prosecutors who cleared the officer. Joseph Mensah shot Jay Anderson Jr. in 2016 after he discovered him sleeping in his car after hours in a park in Wattawassa, Milwaukee suburb, which is in the suburb. Mensah said Anderson was reaching for a gun. Anderson was the second of 3 people Mensah killed during a 5-year stint with the Wattawassa Police Department. Prosecutors cleared Mensah in each case. But an attorney for Anderson's family stumbled onto an obscure legal option to force a grand jury-like proceeding against Mensah in which a judge, rather than a jury, hears evidence. A Milwaukee judge could implement the little-used procedure on Friday and find probable cause to warrant charges against Mensah. It's a case being watched by at least one other family frustrated by the prosecutor's decision not to charge a police officer who shot their loved one. Mensah, who is black, joined the Watausa Police Department in 2015. The same year he shot and killed Antonio Gonzalez, who identified as a Latino and American Indian. Prosecutors said Gonzalez refused to drop a sword. The Anderson shooting came the following year. And in 2020, Mensah shot and killed 17-year-old Alan Cole as Cole fled from police following a disturbance in a mall. That is disturbing. 17-year-old, a disturbance in the mall, but let's go on. Cole was black. Mensah said that he shot Cole because Cole pointed a gun at him. That shooting sparks months of protests, and Chisholm's decision not to charge Mensah was set off several more nights of protests in Watausa in October. Mensah resigned from the Watausa Police Department the following month, collecting $130,000 severance pay. He now works at a Watausa County Sheriff's deputy. It would be just tremendous if we were able to indict this criminal cop, Justin Blake said, referring to Mensah. That would lay the groundwork for our families to get justice for little Jake when we've had no justice at all. There's just so many leeway for cops to get out when they do criminal stuff. This is just a way to keep their feet to the fire. And next, family voiced suspicions about women accused in 4 killings. In the months after her husband's death, Lori Vallow Daybell, she aroused suspicions among relatives who told investigators that she believed a demon had overcome her estranged spouse. They also worried about the whereabouts of the couple's 7-year-old son, and even in the boys' school in Arizona relayed a lie. Daybell told that they raised the red flags that his father had died from suicide. In reality, he had been shot and killed by her brother. That's according to newly released police documents. The 2019 shooting of deaths of Charles Vallow is one of 4 killings that Daybell is charged with, conspiring to commit in a bizarre and complicated case spanning several states and tied to her and a new husband's doomsday belief. A friend has previously told police that Daybell remarked that her children had become zombies because dark spirits had taken over their bodies, and that she believed the only way to rid a person of a dark spirit was by killing them. Daybell and her new husband, Chad Daybell, have been charged in Idaho with conspiracy to commit murder in the deaths of those children, 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan. They were missing for several months when police say that the couple lied about the children's whereabouts and then slipped away to Hawaii before their bodies were found buried on Chad Daybell's property in rural Idaho. The couple faces the same charges in the death of his previous wife, Tammy Daybell, having raised suspicions after he and Lori married 2 weeks later. Prosecutors have declined to charge Chad Daybell in Vallow's death, saying there was no likelihood of winning a conviction. That is absolutely insane. But next, we move on to one arrested in a shooting that wounded TikTok star, killed a teen. Police have arrested a man in connection with a shooting that killed an 18-year-old woman and seriously wounded a 19-year-old social media influencer as they watched The Forever Purge at a Southern California movie theater. Authorities say there is no known motive for the violence and that the shooting Monday appeared to be an unprovoked attack. The teens were found by theater workers cleaning up after the 9:35 p.m. showing of the violent horror movie at the Crossing Malls in Corona, southeast of Los Angeles. Riley Goodrich was fatally shot and Anthony Baharas remained on life support just Wednesday. Baharas, known online as It's Anthony Michael, has nearly 1 million followers on TikTok and more on other platforms. The suspect acted alone, and there's no indication that he knew the victims or that Bahara's role as a TikTok influencer played a role in the crime. Corona police has stated this just Wednesday. It was completely unprovoked and that the victims were shot without any kind of prior contact, he said. The suspect, 20-year-old Joseph Jimenez, was booked in jail Tuesday night on suspicion of murder, attempted murder, and robbery. He is being held on $2 million bail, a firearm that matched the caliber of the weapon used in the shooting, which was found at his home. It was not immediately clear if he had an attorney who could speak on his behalf. Witnesses' accounts and an anonymous tip led detectives to Jimenez Corobalakis, and there was a small audience for that showing of the movie with only 6 tickets that were purchased. Corobalakis said investigators are asking for anyone in that theater or adjacent theaters with possible information to come forward. And next, in Facebook profits top 10 billion as the CEO exalts the metaverse. So let's listen to this, right? Concerns about a revenue growth slowdown pushed Facebook shares lower in after-hours trading Wednesday. Not long after the company reported that its second quarter profits doubled thanks to a massive increase in advertising revenue. But CEO Mark Zuckerberg set his sights far beyond the second half of 2021, exalting what he sees as the next phase of how people experience the internet. What the rest of the world might know as augmented and virtual reality with a dash of science fiction, Zuckerberg and others are calling the metaverse a futuristic and somewhat vague notion that encompasses AR, VR, and new, yet to be imagined ways of connecting to one another via technology. Zuckerberg expects the metaverse to be the next big thing after the mobile internet. Although he's had a spotty track record when it comes to predicting major trends of the near future. At Facebook's conference 4 years ago, for instance, Zuckerberg predicted a future where you would sit in your bedroom wearing a headset and take a virtual vacation with faraway friends and family, or use your smartphone's camera to virtually spruce up your dinky apartment. So far, this has not been materialized. Then there's Libra, known as Diem, a cryptocurrency project Facebook launched in 2019 amid great fanfare. At the time, Facebook envisioned Libra as an emerging global digital currency. Its ambitions have since been scaled back considerably amid regulatory and commercial backlash. In a conference call with analysts, Zuckerberg called the metaverse the next generation of the internet and next chapter for us as a company, one that he said will create entirely new experiences and economic opportunities. Take me back to 1999 or 1989, please. But anyway, moving forward, in Virginia, an inmate pleads guilty to pandemic benefit scheme. A Virginia inmate has pleaded guilty to part in a scheme to obtain pandemic-related unemployment benefits by using personal identifying information of over 30 other prison inmates. The U.S. Department of Justice said it. And citing court documents in a news release, acting Virginia U.S. Attorney Raj Parekh says that in 2020, Michael Lee Lewis Jr., 41 of Chesapeake, worked with Mary Landon Benton, 38 of Portsmouth, and Angelica Cartwright Powers, 35 of Norfolk, to collect the personally identified information of other inmates to fraudulently apply for Virginia unemployment benefits during the COVID-19 pandemic. The news release said Lewis provided Benton and Cartwright Powers information for inmates at the Augusta Correctional Centers, which is leading to approximately 2,100 successful unemployment claims for inmates in there. Together, the three submitted successful applications, Virginia unemployment benefits applications for 35 inmates. Lewis and his co-conspirators, along with the prisoners whose information was used for the applications, shared proceeds totaling more than $330,000. Although the conspirators initially got $436,834. The Virginia Employment Commission was able to reclaim some of the funds after discovering the fraud. Benton and Cartwright Powers have since pleaded guilty to their respective roles in the conspiracy. Lewis pleaded guilty to 1 count of mail fraud and is scheduled to be sentenced on December 2nd. He faces a maximum penalty of 30 years in prison. Well, you know what it is. It's time for a break. We'll be right back on Millennium TV 24.
What does a Regis divorce, a Regis bankruptcy, and a Regis personal injury claim have in common? Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care. Convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. We work 100% for the 99%. Over 20 years, we've helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. Y sí, hablamos español.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Oh, I'm sorry. We are on live already, and I'm over here fixing my hair. I'm sorry. Welcome back to Millennium TV 24. That break was fast. Infrastructure deals. Senate settling acts to take up bill. The Senate has voted to begin working on a nearly $1 trillion national infrastructure plan, acting with sudden speed after weeks of fits and starts once the White House and a bipartisan group of senators agreed on major provisions of the package that's key to President Joe Biden's agenda. Biden welcomed the accord as one that would show America can do big things. It includes the most significant long-term investments in nearly a century, he said, on par with building the Transcontinental Railroad or the interstate highway system. The deal signals to the world that our democracy can function, Biden said ahead of the vote, which is Wednesday night. We will once again transform America and propel us into the future. After weeks of stop-and-go negotiations, the rare bipartisan showing on a 67-32 vote to start formal Senate consideration showed the high interest among senators in the infrastructure package. But it's unclear if enough Republicans will eventually join Democrats to support final passage. Senate rules require 60 votes in the evenly split 50-50 chamber to proceed for consideration and ultimately pass this bill, meaning support from both parties. The outcome will set the stage for the next debate over Biden's much more ambitious $3.5 trillion spending package, a strictly partisan pursuit of far-reaching programs and services including childcare, tax breaks, and health care that touch almost every corner of American life. Republicans strongly oppose that bill, which would require a simple majority and may try to stop both. So that group had labored with the White House to salvage the deal, a first part of Biden's big infrastructure agenda. Swelling to more than 700 pages, the bill includes $550 billion in new spending for public work projects. In all, 17 Republican senators joined the Democrats in voting to launch the debate, but most remain skeptical. The GOP senators were given a thick binder of briefing materials during a private lunch, but they asked many questions and wanted more details. According to a 57-page GOP summary, the 5-year spending package will be paid for by tapping $250 billion in unspent COVID-19 relief aid, and $53 billion in unemployment insurance aid some states have halted. It also relieves on economic growth to bring in $56 billion and other measures. And next we have floods make thousands homeless in Bangladesh. Rohingya camps. Days of heavy rainfall have pounded Rohingya refugee camps in southern Bangladesh, destroying dwellings and sending thousands of people to live with extended families or in communal shelters. In the 24 hours until Wednesday afternoon, more than 30 centimeters, which is more than 11 inches of rain, fell on the camps in Cox's Bazar district, hosting more than 800,000 Rohingya, the UN Refugee Agency said. That's nearly half the average July rainfall in one day, and more heavy downpours are expected in the next few days, and the monsoon season stretches over the next 3 months. The situation is further compounded by what else? The COVID-19 pandemic. There is currently a strict national lockdown in response to rising cases across the country, the agency said. It says 6 people died in the camps earlier this week. 5 people in a landslide caused by the rains and a child swept away by floodwaters. Citing initial reports that the UN High Commissioner for Refugees said more than 12,000 refugees were affected by the heavy rain and an estimated 2,500 shelters were damaged or destroyed. More than 5,000 refugees have been temporarily relocated to other family members, shelters, or communal facilities. The agency said recently in a statement. Hannah McDonald, a spokesperson for the UNHCR, said in an email that the emergency response teams have been deployed to help the affected families. Refugees said they were struggling to eat and drink properly. Due to the continuous rainfall for the last 4 days, today my house is full of water, said Kataji Bejum, who has 5 children. We are not even able to eat. She fears for her children. She fears that her children will drown and die in their sleep. The refugee agency said that the bad weather, landslides, and floods have further exacerbated and suffering and humanitarian needs of the Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. Cyclones, heavy monsoon rains, floods, landslides, and other natural hazards are an annual difficulty in the camps. More than 700,000 Rohingya have fled to refugee camps in Bangladesh since August of 2017, when the military and Buddhist majority Myanmar began a harsh crackdown on the Muslim ethnic group following an attack by insurgents. The crackdown included killings, and the torching of thousands of homes, and was termed ethnic cleansing by Global Rights Group and the United Nations. While Bangladesh and Myanmar have sought to arrange repatriations, the Rohingya are too fearful to return home. Just wanted to make that clear. But next, what we have is in entertainment news. We're going to close out with these last 2 stories. A Spanish judge recommends Shakira face tax fraud trial. A Spanish judge investigating alleged tax fraud by Colombian musician Shakira recommended on Thursday that the case go to trial after concluding that there is evidence that the pop star could have avoided her fiscal obligations to the state. Judge Marco Huberius wrote that his 3-year probe found there existed sufficient evidence of criminality for the case to go to a trial judge. The decision can be appealed. Prosecutors charged the singer in December of 2019 with not paying 14.5 million euros, that's $16.4 million, in taxes in Spain between 2012 and 2014. She lived mostly in the country despite having an official residence in Panama. Shakira, who is 44, she denied any wrongdoing when she testified in June 2019. Her public relations firm said that she had immediately paid what she owed once she was informed of the debt by the tax office. Shakira faces a possible fine and even possible jail time if found guilty of tax evasion. However, a judge can waive prison time for the first-time offenders if they are sentenced to less than 2 years behind bars. And next, the Wu-Tang Clan album sale pays off Martin Shkreli's court debt. Let's see if you guys remember this. An unreleased Wu-Tang Clan album forfeited by Martin Shkreli after his securities fraud conviction was sold Tuesday for an undisclosed sum, though prosecutors say it was enough to fully satisfy the rest of what he owed on a $7.4 million forfeiture order he faced after his 2018 sentencing. The entrepreneur, known as Farmer Bro, once boasted that he paid $2 million in 2015 at an auction for Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. The 31-track double album, the multi-platinum rap group spent 6 years creating. With today's sale of this one-of-a-kind album, his payment of the forfeiture is now complete. Acting U.S. Attorney Jacqueline M. Kauslis is in Brooklyn, said in a release statement, and that the sales contract for the album contained a confidentiality provision that protects information relating to the buyer and the price. In a civil case in Manhattan, federal court and lawyers wrote in an April document that Shkreli had already reduced his forfeiture debt by about $5 million. Wu-Tang Clan album sales pays off Martin Shkreli's court debt. An unreleased Wu-Tang Clan album forfeited by Martin Shkreli after his securities fraud conviction was sold Tuesday for an undisclosed sum. though prosecutors say it was enough to fully satisfy the rest of what he had owed on a $7.4 million forfeiture order after he faced his 2018 sentencing. The entrepreneur, as Farmer Bro, once boasted that he paid $2 million in 2015 auction for Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, which is a 31-track double album the multi-platinum rap group spent 6 years creating. With today's sales of this one-of-a-kind album, the payment of a forfeiture is now complete. Acting U.S. Attorney Jacqueline M. Couselis is in Brooklyn. She stated in a release that the sales contract from the album contained a confidentiality provision that protects information relating to the buyer and the price. And if you didn't hear it first time, I had to say it twice because something was going on with the thing. But let's keep going. In a civil case in Manhattan federal court, lawyers wrote in an April document that Shrekley had already reduced his forfeiture debt by about $5 million. Shrekley's lawyer, Brianna E. Murphy, said that she spoke to Shrekley late Tuesday, and he said he's pleased with the sale price and RIPODB, a reference to Russell Tyrone Jones, also known as Old Dirty Bastard, a founding member of the 9-man clan who died of an accidental drug overdose in 2004. Shrekley, 38, is scheduled for a release in October of 2022 after serving a 7-year prison sentence. He was prosecuted after he gained fame in 2015 after he boasted by 5,000% the price of Daraprim, a previously cheap drug used to treat toxoplasmosis, a parasite infection that can be fatal to people with the AIDS virus or other immune system disorders. Shrekley's purchase of the Wu-Tang Clan album came as group member RZA said that he wanted the album packaged in a handcrafted silver and nickel case, which includes a 174-page book wrapped in leather to be viewed as a piece of contemporary art. At sentencing, Shrekley also claimed to own an unreleased Lil Wayne album, The Carter 5. In its debut week in 2008, the rapper's The Carter 3 sold more than 1 million copies and helped launch Lil Wayne to superstar status. In 2017, Shrekley was convicted of lying to investors and cheating them out of millions of dollars in 2 failed hedge funds he operated. Bradford described Shrekley as sentencing as a misunderstood eccentric who used unconventional means to make his defrauded investors even wealthier. Well, this is your news for today. You have been watching A Good Look in News. I'm Kim Seabrook. Thank you for watching Millennium TV 24. You can watch us on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick. We are on Roku. You can download the app on your iPhone or your Android, whichever one you have, and also your smart TVs. Please stay tuned with us as we continue to bring you the news that you want to watch. Millennium TV 24. I'm Kim Seabrook. Thank you. We'll see you next time.